Breaking news. Obama is among the 500 Americans who have been denied entry to Russia. The move is being interpreted as a reaction to the anti-Russian sanctions imposed by the Joe Biden administration, according to a statement from Russia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as reported by CNN. Despite the escalation of the highly criticized war between Russia and Ukraine, Russia announced on Friday that it would be banning at least 500 American citizens from entering the country. Prominent Americans and some journalists are among those who have been banned from entering Russia. On the list, CNN says, are late-night talk show hosts Jimmy Kimmel, Colbert, and Seth Meyers of the United States, as well as former President Barack Obama, former U.S. Ambassador John Huntsman, several U.S. senators, the next expected chairman of the Joint Chiefs Charles Q. Brown, Jr. The move is being interpreted as a reaction to the anti-Russian sanctions imposed by the Joe Biden administration, according to a statement from Russia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as reported by CNN. Following the so-called storming of the Capitol, the ministry said, the attached, List 500, also includes those in government and law enforcement agencies who are directly involved in the persecution of dissidents. The United States announced sanctions against over 300 entities on Friday. The Guardian reports that the move was made to increase the severity of one of the harshest sanctions campaigns ever imposed on Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. A statement released by U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen read, "Today's actions will further tighten the vice on Vladimir Putin's ability to wage his barbaric invasion and will advance our global efforts to cut off Russian attempts to evade sanctions." The Prime Minister discussed the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, as well as India's ties to Pakistan and China, in an interview with Nikkei Asia. In an interview with Nikkei Asia, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi pledged to bring up issues facing the Global South at the upcoming G7 meeting in Hiroshima, and that India would serve as a bridge between diverse voices and contribute to a constructive and positive agenda. India was invited to the meeting by the host country, Japan. Unlike the other G7 countries, India has been hesitant to publicly condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine. India has been abstaining from UN votes that are critical of Russia, even though Prime Minister Narendra Modi told President Vladimir Putin that we are not at war. In an interview with Nikkei, Modi reaffirmed India's commitment to the side of peace. As the price of food, fuel, and fertilizers continues to rise, we are dedicated to helping those who are having trouble keeping up. Our lines of communication with Russia and Ukraine remain open. Our era should be defined by cooperation and collaboration, not conflict. The Prime Minister discussed India's efforts to reform the United Nations, including India's bid for a permanent seat on the Security Council, noting that global governance institutions are hampered by limitations and outdated mindsets. The shortcomings of these institutions have become evident in addressing contemporary challenges such as climate change, the COVID-19 pandemic, terrorism, and financial crises, he told Nikkei. He went on to say that so long as the UNSC continues to deny representation on a permanent basis to the world, its credibility and decision-making process will always be questioned. According to Modi, India is fully prepared and committed to protect its sovereignty and dignity, in response to China's border incursions. New Delhi's position that peace and tranquility in the border areas are essential for normal bilateral ties with China was restated. The future development of India-China relationship can only be based on mutual respect, mutual sensitivity, and mutual interests, Modi told Nikkei. The Prime Minister also stated that, it is not contradictory or mutually exclusive for India to be a part of both the China-led Shanghai Cooperation Organization and the Quad grouping, which is seen as a way to limit China's influence in the Indo-Pacific region. For India, the promotion of a free, open, prosperous and inclusive Indo-Pacific region, and the deepening of its ties to the Central Asian region are both aided by these two forums. The Prime Minister said that India wants normal and neighborly relations with Pakistan, but that Pakistan must create a conducive environment free from terrorism and hostility. For this to happen, Pakistan bears the responsibility for any action taken in this regard. When asked about his domestic priorities, Modi pointed out that India's economy has risen to fifth place from 10th place since 2014. It's true that global headwinds pose challenges to growth, but we've built a strong foundation in recent years, he told the paper, putting the company in a good position. Modi added that India would be a developed nation by the time it celebrates its centennial of independence. On the fringes of the G7 summit in Hiroshima, the Prime Minister is set to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on the evening of Saturday, May 20. Although they have spoken on the phone several times since Russia's invasion of Ukraine on February 24, 2022, this will be the first time the two leaders have actually met face-to-face. On the eve of COP26 in Glasgow on November 2, 2021, they held their final meeting.